We are officially a quarter of the way through the
That's
Major League
crazy.
Baseball season. So we're going to give out some of our, I don't know if you can call them awards, or we're just going to call out players or teams that we believe, 3 things, who had the best offseason move. Okay. Then we're going to do most underrated and biggest surprise of the season.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to start with you.
We both have one.
We
right?
both have them.
Okay.
We're going to start with you with best offseason move.
Okay. So mine is, I went in this direction because, one, I cheated a little bit, and I saw your answer to this one, not the other ones. Yours is a great answer.
Okay.
So I went in a different direction.
Which was funny because I was waiting to see what you gave, so I made sure I went in a different direction, and you didn't give it in by the time I gave him in. I was like, okay, done, I'm taking it.
Masataka Yoshida.
Yeah.
Boston Red Sox, batting .300 on the season with 6 home runs. The reason I say he's been the best offseason signing is look at the Boston Red Sox right now. And I'm not saying look where they are in the division. I'm saying look at their record. Who had them being a good bit, quite a few games above 500. I believe it's 24-20 so far through the season. And he's been a huge part of this. 351 in the last month. Now, the reason I say he's been the biggest signing is because you look at the team before he got hot and after, and it was that game in Milwaukee on April 23rd. He came in batting .213. .213. And the team was right around, they were 500 at that time. Since then, he's jumped up to the 2-3 hole in the lineup and been a catalyst for this team ever since. It seems like he's getting multiple hits every night. He had 2 homers in that game and never looked back. I said that would be the breakout game for him, and it has been. And it was really the breakout game for this team that kind of went on a tear since then. So I will say best offseason move, Masataka Yoshida.
It's a good one.
What's yours? I know yours.
Yeah, okay. My best offseason move is Sean Murphy. From the A's to the Braves. Now, I feel like he was almost kind of that missing piece that this young Braves team needed. But it was also not only great for the Braves, it was great for Sean Murphy. So the Braves obviously already a great team, right? They've been in the conversation in the World Series, won a World Series over the last couple of years. But he was maybe that glue that this pitching staff needed to really take it to that next level, okay? And he's been the difference. But also, Murphy changing. So let's go through the first 43 games of last year to this year for Sean Murphy, okay? With the A's, he was batting .201, 4 home runs, 15 extra base hits, 20 RBI.
Okay.
This season with the Braves, batting .268, 10 home runs compared to the 4 home runs, 19 extra base hits, 34 RBI compared to 20 RBI the season before. And then even his strikeout to walk ratio is incredible. He was striking out a lot, not walking a ton last season. 44 strikeouts, 12 walks, opposed to this year, 34 strikeouts, 21 walks. So not only is he making a defensive difference with the pitching staff,
huge,
but he has been a big offensive piece for the Braves as well, which is not necessarily what you expect when you're picking up a catcher to come to your team. Like, okay, do your job here. But he's also been both sides of the ball. I think a great offseason move for the Braves.
I agree. I've been saying for the majority of this, and really since they signed him, the Braves had been getting offensive production from the catching position.
Yeah.
But the catching position is about a lot more than just offensive production. In fact, you could argue defensive production is a lot more important and leading a pitching staff.
Yeah.
And he has been great at doing that while also putting up big numbers offensively as well. So he was, as you said, Alex, the piece that was missing for the Braves.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the most underrated. This could be a player. This could be a team. Who are you going with?
Most underrated, Brent Rooker, Oakland A's. Coming into this week, the AL leader in OPS, Brent Rooker. Over everybody.
On the A's?
On the A's.
You're making
exactly
disastrous start to the season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most underrated start, most underrated through a quarter of the season, Brent Rooker. 11 home runs, 30 RBI, and currently, as we sit on Thursday, he's just a mere percentage points behind Yandy Diaz for AL lead and OPS. But coming into this week, he was the leader. He's been fantastic. If you don't know the name, well, that's why you probably don't, and that's why he's on most underrated.
I like that.
Okay, who's yours?
My most underrated is a team. My most underrated are the Miami Marlins. They are just in second place behind the Braves, who I just mentioned, one of the best teams in baseball in the NL East, ahead of two teams who had extremely high expectations this season, with the Mets, obviously the highest payroll in baseball coming into the season, and the Phillies, who were just in the World Series. Now, the other thing with Miami is they also have extremely underrated players, I believe, on their team, like Luis Ariz, who's been batting almost 400 this entire season. And then they have so many young stars who are making a name for themselves. Someone who we just saw, Perez, who's the youngest player in baseball right now to strike out 7 in his Marlins debut. I don't know if it's because there's not a lot of fan hype around Miami and they can't really fill the stadium, but they're doing great things, and they're having a strong season with some big names and some young up-and-coming names on the team. So I believe they are the most underrated team in baseball right now.
I like the Marlins have been a fun watch so far this year. Their pitching staff is remarkable, and obviously they're only going to continue to get better with all the young names that they have. So I like your answer there.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to our last one. Your biggest surprise of the season.
My biggest surprise is the Texas Rangers. They're 26-17. They are leading the American League West and right behind the Rays in terms of runs scored in the American League. Second most runs scored in the American League. Their offense is elite. They've been doing this largely without Jacob deGrom, who's still going to be out for a couple of weeks, but Nate Eovaldi has stepped up and been unhittable for like a month now. They've been doing, again, all of this offensively without Corey Seager, who just finally got back in the lineup Wednesday from his hamstring issue. He's back now. The offense is only going to get better. This is the biggest surprise so far, is that the Texas Rangers are not just good, they're great. They've been one of the best teams in the American League. I like them a lot, and it's been a big surprise, I would say, that the Rangers are 26-17.
My biggest surprise is also a team, but in the National League. And I feel really sad that I have to go here because I should have not been surprised. My biggest surprise team are the LA Dodgers.
What?
Okay? Yes. Let me explain. Okay? Because the offseason they had, all we kept talking about was how disappointed we were. They weren't doing the things that Dodgers normally do. They were losing big names. They weren't going after big free agents. All the major free agents that were on the market, we never heard the Dodgers name in the mix to go get these guys in positions like shortstop after losing Trey Turner that they needed to fill. While on the other hand, their division rivals, the Padres, were going after every single big name that was available on the market as a free agent. So I had expectations that the Padres, with this all-star lineup that they had, were just going to completely blow through the NL West, and the Dodgers were going to be in trouble. Quarter way through the season, that's not the case. The Dodgers are in first place. They are 8 games ahead of the Padres. I should have believed in them. They've won the NL West 9 out of the last 10 years, and I did not have that same belief going into this season.
That sounds like a you problem.
That is a me problem. This is who I'm surprised with, not you. So this was my biggest surprise, and I am happy that they are doing great, but I'm also mad at myself that I didn't have that belief right at the start of the season, because the Dodgers are a great organization and always seem to figure it out.
If I had told you on, March 28th that the Dodgers on May 18th are going to be in first place in the NL West, would you have been like, what?
After the offseason that they had and the other teams in the division and what the Padres should be doing with the talent and the names that they have, yeah, I probably would have been surprised.
Okay.
You picked the Padres to win.
I would
the
personally,
NL West.
The bigger surprise to me is that the Padres are bad, not that the Dodgers are good. The Dodgers were still, after everything you mentioned, the favorite to win the NL West. And I think that might have been a bit surprising with everything the Dodgers did. But still, at the end of the day, the favorites to win the division. And now that they're winning the division, it's not the biggest surprise in the world, I don't think. Well, to you, that's why they were your biggest surprise.
It's my biggest surprise.